everyone. Welcome back to the Media Makers podcast. Welcome to our final episode in which me, Michael, and Sarah are going to be discussing the final points and everything. And so, let's just jump into it, all right? So, Michael and Sarah, I have some questions for the two of you.
Sure, man.
And I want to start off by asking, how has YouTube affected you on a personal level, like in your daily lives, or whether it be in the last few years, or, just how has it affected you?
Okay, YouTube honestly changed my life so good. So I have some few points about to say. So as an international student who comes to US to study, honestly and I'm the only son in my family back in my country, so I was really spoiled. Like I don't know how to cook. I don't everything is like already there for me. But once I come to US, reality hits really hard for me. like 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 the only
Mm-hmm.
thing I wasn't even able to cook an egg properly. But all that was thanks to YouTube. Like if YouTube wasn't there, I would be like I would even be starving by now because like YouTube actually helped me like learn how to cook, and like I learned some few stuff such as like making fried rices and like especially how to a rice cook make a rice out of a rice cooker. I know it's a disgrace being an Asian that you don't know how to cook rice, but anyways,
Oh no,
these are some
Michael!
of the
Don't say
stuff.
that.
These are some of the stuff that I learned from YouTube, and also I'm a coder, so like the thing about coding is like not everyone like you can just learn from what professors say like they're like 80% or I would say like 60% of the time that I was learning how to code was on YouTube. There was some really good YouTube programmers like who explained me a lot and helped me through the exam. Like sometimes, for example, a course that would take me 2 days or 3 days, if I have to study just from the canvas itself, it actually helped me study in like a few hours from watching a specific course on YouTube, which is related to my stuff. So yeah, YouTube has like changed my life in how I do stuff, cook, and also in my study career. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like it gave you a big resource. For
Mhm.
me, it was more like an influence. How Michael said before in one of the latest podcasts, he talked about the algorithm and algorithm,
Algorithm.
the data reading. Yeah,
Uh,
that actually influenced my music taste a lot. Because
mhm.
the Explore page, the front page of YouTube, it shows the most popular videos, and I would always watch that, and that really influenced me to like know what's really in right now in the common society, and I think that's what really influenced me on YouTube.
Mhm. Yeah, and let me just say, like, just to be blunt here, like, for me personally, like, and you know how, like, in my podcast episode, I talked about, the hypothetical Jimmy, right? I talked about Jimmy, So
Yeah.
basically, I was Jimmy, dude. I was Jimmy. I was like, I was like, when I was like 13, 14 years old, and I was going through, like, all these, like, politics and on YouTube, I was really being influenced by all the right politics, as a kid, because I was into movies and stuff, and so I'd watch like like all these videos and stuff, and it influenced my belief in politics. So obviously, that subject is something that's really personal today for me, right? But even today, still, like I'm still being influenced by politics, right? Like I have more of an understanding now, and I'm not in the alt right anymore. Like I escaped from that years ago. But like even with like leftist politics, right? Like I'm more into like leftist politics now, so I consume a lot of leftist politics too, and like today, and like even like as a younger kid, right? I had like no friends or whatever. I was like a really lonely person, and YouTube like kind of like it was kind of like that like one like ray of happiness in my life that I had at the time because I'd be able to like like watch influencers and stuff, watch people go through their daily lives, and it was something that was really like almost cathartic for me because I was like so lonely back then. But it's just, yeah, YouTube has influenced me a lot, and I think what we see from Michael's example of being an immigrant and coming to the U.S. is how global YouTube is, and how it has such an outreach to like billions of people on the planet, and how influential it is now. So I think that's something that we definitely see, and I think I kind of want to segue this into asking my next question, which is how has YouTube influenced society? How do you think it has? How do you think it has had an impact on society?
Michael, would you like to go first?
Oh yeah, sure. Like, I think this is my specialized topic that I said before in my topic, like how YouTube, like for example, in society, like everything has become a uh, part of something for YouTube in the society. For example, like if you'll see people like resting on somewhere else, but they'll be like while they're doing it, they'll be like watching YouTube. Okay, if you think
Mm-hmm.
about me, like for example, if like how do I to the point YouTube has become so powerful to the point that some people become so addicted that I would even like sneak my phone through on the table while I'm eating, and I would just even like watch YouTube while I'm eating. So I think YouTube has become like so powerful, like and convenient for our society that most of people has become so addicted, and they're like many like also a lot of influencers, YouTube influencers, and marketing makers like nowadays thanks to YouTube. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
From my example, from my late podcast too, the David Dobrik example of how he influenced a lot of people to sign up for the startup company to win a free Tesla. That was just like one example, but I think that YouTube influences society in a bigger way, where they they show everyone in the same area um, the same things to show like what's popular in that area, and I think that's how they influence society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we see a lot of potentials from Sarah's example. I think she talked about how David Dobrik had this fundraiser or something. I don't know the exact details, but David Dobrik had this fundraiser where like if you sign up for it, then you get a free Tesla, right? And that's like kind of like bribing people to do a good deed, but it's a good deed nonetheless. So I think that's where we see like the potentials, and I think there is negative effects too, especially with what I talked about. There were some
Yeah,
good
I
things.
wanted to. Yeah. I wanted to point out how like people like David Dobrik, the people who have power in social media, the people who have all the subscribers, like if they do a good deed, they're influencing so many other people to do a good deed because they have like a higher power. People look up to
Mm-hmm.
them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying, and also I was gonna say like vice versa too. Like it can also like go like it can either be good or it can either be bad because a YouTube
Yeah.
influencer, like maybe like someone like Jake Paul tells his fans to dab on the haters or whatever, and he's influencing them to do that because he's a popular. I think what I was getting at is that YouTube has a lot of power through memes. You know what I mean? Like
Oh
memes
yeah.
have like such a huge influence in society, considering that people like do them everywhere, right? Like people are constantly like
Yeah.
doing challenges, and also through the algorithm too. Like I think everyone wants to be a YouTuber. Like like I'd like to be a YouTuber. Like that's like a dream job that I think a lot of people want, and then people are like constantly trying to do like the next crazy thing in order to get views and
Yeah.
clicks, right? Mm-hmm.
And that's even beyond YouTube, like beyond um, all of the memes and stuff. It's media in general, and how everyone wants to be a part of it, and how everyone wants to have the power to do all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like even more like YouTube is now, like YouTube is so like I think what Michael was talking about right now, like YouTube is so accessible. Like you can watch it on your phone, you can watch it on your TV, you can watch it on your laptop. You can essentially, you can watch it anywhere. You can watch it on the go. And like Michael said too, like it's so helpful too. Like you have like all these like videos teaching you how to do things, right? Like to the point where you don't even like need an app like Skillshare or anything. You can just go on YouTube
Yeah.
and you can find billions upon billions of videos, showing you how to do stuff. I learned how to make crafts mac and cheese from YouTube. So, so I'm really thankful for YouTube.
Yeah. I learned
Mhm.
how to play the piano through YouTube.
Wow. That's actually really amazing. Um, so I think the next thing that I want to get into is you know we talked a little bit about the harmful things, and we talked a little bit about the potentials, and I want to get into how we can do better, and how we can how maybe YouTube can do better, and how we can do better as a society, and how we can be more civic and ethical. So how do I know that's a heavy question, but like do you guys have like any ideas or any thoughts on that?
Um, I think I mean YouTube is like perfect already, but I think the only one way that YouTube can do it, the what I should want to improve is on the like I want YouTube to be like family friendly content. Like I agree that like it like deletes the stuff that are like hateful comments or like racism, but it kind of like take times. Like sometimes you can even see it before it get totally like shut down from YouTube. So yeah, like that's the only thing that I like, feel like YouTube should improve. Like maybe like the speed or something like the way it controls like on the negativity on the YouTube, such as like the hateful comments and racism. Yeah, like I wish like
Mhm.
it could take like a few like milliseconds or something to like just to be like full family friendly content. Yeah, that's about it.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I definitely see what you mean. I think there's a lot of pushback on that too because a lot of people want YouTube to be this space where you can, just like where you can create anything and get away with it. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people like edgy content, and that's where a lot of memes come from too. But I see what you mean. Mhm.
Yeah, totally.
I think YouTube does kind of control content, whereas like some ads, it talks about like, oh, don't smoke nicotine, it's bad for your health, especially for younger children who are starting to smoke nicotine like at an early age. Like it not only like controls the limits of like certain things, but also influences not students, influences society in that kind of way too.
Yeah, definitely. I see a lot of like anti-smoking advertising. Like I'm getting a lot of them lately, but like
Yeah.
especially I don't know. Like, do you guys think that with what Michael was talking about how like they collect your data? Do you guys think like if you like buy like a vape like online or something, then YouTube's gonna give you an anti-vaping ad or something like that, like purposefully?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Mhm. Right. The other thing that I was going to get into is I know, like in my episode, I talked about like how YouTube can do better and how they can create like like options for individuals and people on the website. And the thing is that they're already doing like a lot of like implications in order to make the website better. Such as I think I talked about how like they could like where you could like unrecommend something for yourself. Like if you don't want to see anything from one person's channel anymore, you can just click not interested in this. So they are doing a lot more within kind of like what Michael was saying, like getting rid of harmful content. So I am seeing a huge a huge improvement within YouTube's policies, and yeah, especially with what I was talking about, with harmful content on YouTube. Like I don't want to take this time to condemn Republicans or conservatives, despite my own political beliefs, but yeah, I think they're doing a lot better to get rid of harmful content. I think they're doing the best they can do because there's only so many employees that YouTube can have in order to get rid of like the N word in a comment section as soon as possible, right? So
Yeah.
I think yeah, because if they have like like bots or something, then those bots can like mess up, and context matters too, right? So
Yeah.
they can't censor everything, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, that I think that's why that's the only thing that I wish that YouTube can improve. Like yeah.
Mhm.
But whatever stays on the internet, it goes on the internet, stays on the internet.
Oh, nice one.
And Michael, final thoughts. Okay, all right. Well, I think that's a really good place to end this episode and to end this series. This is the finale. This is the last time. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Yeah, whatever stays on the internet, whatever goes on the internet stays on the internet. You can't get rid of it forever. So, yeah. I think that's a good place to end this. And, yeah, bye, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Zeus, and
Bye.
thanks for
Bye.
everyone listening.